Hello, good morning. I'd like to thank y'all for coming out. I'd like to thank my girlfriend for providing the refreshments here. And I'd like to thank y'all for waking up on this early morning to come view this presentation. My name is Trayvon Smith. I'm a junior at the University of North Texas. I'm an applied technology major. I've been in the military for 4 years right now. And that is what qualifies me to give you this presentation on Run, Hide, and Fight. It's about combating school shootings because it's been a pretty relevant issue in the recent years coming. So, I'd like to start off by giving you the purpose of the presentation. The purpose of this presentation is to educate an audience on a danger that faces all. Mass public shootings, especially in the educational arena, have plagued the world. Through education on this issue, I aim to equip everyone with knowledge to combat this tragedy if ever faced with such an unfortunate attack. The odds of you being in a mass school shooting are about as frequent as you being struck by lightning 3 times in a row. But I think it's still important that we all educate ourselves on it because much like with any issue, no one thinks it's going to happen to them. So it's really important that we all know what to do in this situation and how to act. So it's still early in the morning. I know y'all still kind of tired, so we're going to start off with an icebreaker. I didn't want to make y'all move around too much, so this icebreaker, you don't really have to get out of your seat, but we're going to get you an icebreaker. So if you wouldn't mind, I would like for you all to close your eyes right now. And imagine yourselves here, just like today. And we're all here and we're having a good time. We're having coffee this morning. And all of a sudden, someone comes to the door and you hear a big slam. And they start shooting. Keep your eyes closed. How many exits are in this room? How much time do you have to get out? And where would you go personally? Now, no one's going to open their eyes right now, but when I tap you, I want you to tell me how many exits are in the room, how many seconds do you have to get out, and where would you go personally?
There are 2 exits.
Okay.
I can only go out one. I think I would have about 3 seconds. And where I would go is, I'll just go around the other building to the other side of the building to the front.
Okay.
It's 2 exits. I feel like I have like 2 seconds. And I'll just go out the back door over the fence.
Okay, we'll do one more.
It's 2 exits, and in all honesty, the way we got these chairs set up and the table, if somebody walk in here shooting, we all dead. Already.
Okay. That's pretty good. Y'all can open your eyes now. I like your answers about where you all would go. They sound like really good. It sounds places to go. But you actually have about 10 seconds to make a decision if someone wants to come in the room right now because you're not going to automatically just go from room to room to room unless he was clearing houses and just shooting people. There's actually 3 exits here. There's the front door that he came in, there's a back door, and upstairs you could get out through either of your windows and get onto a rooftop because the back of your houses have rooftops. So you could actually climb out a window and get on a rooftop and escape that way. Yeah. So, I know it sounds like something that's really not fun to think about. It's actually really scary to think about if someone came in your house or came in your classroom or came in your church and started shooting like that. So, and that's kind of like a sensitive topic to talk about, but it's something we should think about. I mean, every time that we enter a room, especially when we're in a high velocity of people. So next, I just wanted you to write down, it's our first activity. Just on the first section of your papers, there's an activity box for what do you know about mass shooting. So if you wouldn't mind, jot down about 4 to 5 things that you may know or if you know anything about mass shootings and active shooters. I'll give you about 10 more seconds, and then if two of you wouldn't mind sharing, volunteering to share, that'd be great. Okay, perfect. Would anyone mind sharing anything that they wrote down that they know about active shooters?
I wrote that they're plotting. They're planning.
Their plot, their intention. That's really good. That's really good. Very true. Anybody else mind sharing like what they wrote?
Sometimes it's usually like the person people talk about the most, like the
Person that gets bullied.
bully. There we go. That's all.
Awesome. So, I guess the rest of you really feel like, or maybe all of you feel like you don't really know much about mass shootings. Yeah, you don't really know much. Which is fine, which is why we're having this presentation. It does count a little bit. Move on to key terms, the things you should know about mass shootings. I felt like there were 3 key terms that you should know about mass shootings, just to kind of educate yourselves on it. What is an active shooter? An active shooter is an individual actively engaged in killing or attempting to kill people in a confined or populated area. So that's the person that came to this door, he's an active shooter. So what is a mass shooting? It's an active shooting with 10 plus victims, and a strike zone is an area with most traffic in which active shootings most commonly take place. So this big grand foyer is where your active shooting would be, where your active shooter would enter to attempt a mass shooting, and this would be your strike zone. We didn't know much about mass shootings, so let's just run through a couple facts about mass shootings. Mass shootings have occurred in 15 different states, and California has had the most active shootings out of every state. The most recent mass shooting happened in a college campus in Santa Barbara, California, killing 6 people and wounding 13. And it was this past June, it was last month. Yes, and it wasn't really publicized either, which shows how frequent active shootings are going on, because not many people knew about it. More than 3/4 of the weapons that are used in mass shootings are legally obtained. I provided that information because a lot of people feel like the way to rid mass shootings is to make stricter gun laws, but the people that obtain the guns, they obtain them legally, most of them. More than half of the shooters intended to kill themselves in the mass shooting, in the active shooting. The average age for a mass shooting is 35 years of age, but it's been decreasing within the last 3 and 4 years. 9 shootings have already taken place in this year of 2014, so it is projected that we'll have about 20 mass shootings by the end of the year to tally off the year. So, I just wanted to run through a couple famous active shootings. I'm pretty sure you all remember his face. This was the man that came into the movie theater in Colorado, and this was on July 20th, 2012. He killed 12 people and he injured 70 others. I mean, there's a lot of pictures of a lot of people that tried to save the person to their left or to the right. They tried to save their boyfriend or tried to save their girlfriend, and that's where a lot of people ended up getting killed. I think about 5 boyfriends got killed trying to save their girlfriends in that accident. In Virginia Tech in 2007, there were 33 victims when a man came into the room and he shot 33 people. And it was in a lecture-style hall, much like the classrooms that we enter here at the University of North Texas. So, I mean, it really could happen to us, you know? This is probably the most famous active shooting. Sandy Hook Elementary School. It happened in 2012. There were 28 victims. 8 people were killed in Newton, Connecticut. A young man armed with multiple weapons killed 20 students, 6 teachers, and his mother before taking his own life. Just a little bit more are statistics about active shootings and how they've really increased over the past years. From 2000 to about 2008 and 2009, there were about 5 shootings per year if you average it out. Starting in 2010, the numbers almost tripled from 6 to 16, with 2011 being the most active shootings with 21 active shootings, and we're projected to have 20 this year. So there's an average of 16 mass shootings a year starting from the past 5 years going on. So I mean, it's really becoming a permanent thing among the American society. So it's something we should all watch out for and be mindful of. I'm pretty sure you're all wondering what to do during a mass shooting, now that you know that it can happen to any of us. So the next few slides, they'll kind of pertain to that topic right there. On average, you have about 3 minutes once you hear the first gunshot to protect yourself from a mass shooting and survive, really. So the 3 tactics that are taught to us in the military are: you must run, you must hide, and you must fight. You have 3 minutes to actually carry out which action you're going to use, but you have about 20 seconds to make the decision about which one you're going to go to. So the next slide will be about which one that you feel like you should go to. Before I start with that, I want to know, were there any questions? No? Awesome. Great. Your primary course of action would be to run. It's your first and your best option. When you're running, you should encourage other people to go with you, but if they slow you down, you gotta take them with us. It's better one person be dead than 2. So that's the best option, because a lot of people get scared in a situation that they don't want to run, they just want to kind of freeze up. So run as far as you can away from the danger zone and the strike zone that we talked about. You wouldn't want to run through the big foyer trying to get out. You kind of want to take like sideways or different exits. If you encounter the threat while you're running, you proceed to the other 2, which are hide and fight. Only call for the police once you're in a safe area. A lot of people, when they run, they want to call the police while they're running, and it takes away from your alertness during the time, and it could actually be detrimental to yourself. The next course of action that you would go through would be to hide. There are 2 types of hiding places. There are cover and there's concealment. What cover is a place where you could hide behind it and you could be protected from bullets or fire. So say if we were here, you would hide behind that huge desk in the back, because if a bullet hit that, it could take about 5 or 6 bullets before it actually pierced it. So that would be a good place to hide. Large desks are a good place to hide. You wouldn't want to hide in a place where you stick out, but you want to hide in a place that would cover bullets, and that's what cover is. The next place would be concealment. Say, you know, on the Looney Tunes, how they always, when they run away, they'll hide behind a window drape, and you can't really see them, and their toes will be sticking out. Well, you can't see them, so they're concealed, but they're not covered. So if an active shooter was to walk in the room and he was to spot them, it wouldn't do them any justice. But if their concealment was good enough for them to be hidden, then it technically didn't work. If you were to hide behind a door, the bathroom's in the back, you would close the bathroom and you would put a blockade in front of the door, like maybe move a couch in front of the door so he wouldn't be able to get in. And you're going to remain in your hiding spot until the police come. This is your second and best option. You're going to remain in your hiding spot until the police come, because when the police come, they're going to come in and their first objective is not to talk to you, it's not to save you. They're actually going after the shooter. They're going to send in the special teams unit first, and that's going to come in and they're going to try to disarm the shooter first. So the best option for you to do is don't point, don't yell, don't do much of anything. When you see the police, you're more than likely safe. So the best thing for you to do is just be quiet and sit there, because another team will come behind them and actually tell you and escort you out. Your last option, which is one that a lot of people wouldn't want to jump to, is to actually fight. If you don't have any other option, you can't run, you can't hide, the best thing for you to do is try to fight. There's a team of 5 females here. For you to fight, you would actually want to act with aggression. You want to use blunt objects, and the positioning is key. If you knew someone's about to open your door right here, and there's no way for you to hide or run, you'd probably stand behind the door, and as soon as they enter the door, you would all try to hit them with something. Your intent is to try to knock them out, or try to disable them from their weapon. You wouldn't want to try to grab their weapon. You wouldn't want to try to like, I guess, combat them unless you were like trained in that area. The most important thing about fighting is just don't try to be a hero. This is not your first option. It's the last thing that you want to do, because it's not about trying to take out the shooter. You're not really trained for that. What you want to do is you want to get out of the way. And when you can't get out of the way, you kind of got to defend yourself the best you can. So next, we're about to go into a video. It's a 5-minute long video, and it's going to kind of explain everything that goes on in Run, Hide, and Fight. It's going to reiterate a lot of the topics that I talked to you about already, and it's going to kind of teach you some new ones. Before I go into the video, is there any questions?
No, sir.
No? No questions? Cool.
It may feel like just another day at the office, but it can't. It may feel like just another day at the office, but occasionally, life feels more like an action movie than reality. The authorities are working hard to protect you and to protect our public spaces. But sometimes, bad people do bad things. Their motivations are different. The warning signs may vary, but the devastating effects are the same. And unfortunately, you need to be prepared for the worst. If you were ever to find yourself in the middle of an active shooter event, your survival may depend on whether or not you have a plan. The plan doesn't have to be complicated. There are 3 things you could do that make a difference. Run, hide, fight. First and foremost, if you can get out, do. Always try and escape or evacuate, even when others insist on staying. Encourage others to leave with you, but don't let them slow you down with indecision. Remember what's important. You, not your stuff. Leave your belongings behind and try to find a way to get out safely. Trying to get yourself out of harm's way needs to be your #1 priority. Once you are out of the line of fire, try to prevent others from walking into the danger zone and call 911. If you can't get out safely, you need to find a place to hide. Act quickly and quietly. Try to secure your hiding place the best you can. Turn out lights, and if possible, remember to lock doors. Silence your ringer and vibration mode on your cell phone. And if you can't find a safe room or closet, try to conceal yourself behind large objects that may protect you. Do your best to remain quiet and calm. As a last resort, if your life is at risk, whether you are alone or working together as a group, fight. Act with aggression. Improvise weapons. Disarm them. and commit to taking the shooter down, no matter what. Try to be aware of your environment. Always have an exit plan. Know that in an incident like this, victims are generally chosen randomly. The event is unpredictable and may evolve quickly. The first responders on the scene are not there to evacuate or tend to the injured. They are well trained and are there to stop the shooter. Your actions can make a difference for your safety and survival. Be aware and be prepared. And if you find yourself facing an active shooter, there are 3 key things you need to remember to survive. Run, hide, fight.
Are there any questions about the video?
No, he answered all my questions.
You answer all the questions? Yeah. Well, I have some questions for y'all then, because it's the end of our presentation, and I just want to know some things that y'all learned from the presentation. In the event that it's not applicable to run from an active shooter, what would you do?
Alright.
Alright. About how long do you have to react to a case of an active shooter?
Wait, to make a decision or to act?
You can answer both.
To make a decision, you have 3 minutes. Wait, 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You have 3 minutes to act, right?
When is the right time to call the police for an active shooter?
When you're safely away.
Well, once again, I'd like to thank you all for coming out to my presentation. I hope it's something that you could take away from it and that you could spread to other people, and hopefully you'll never have to use it, but in the case that you did, I hope that it could actually benefit you and save your life from it. Thank you all for coming out. My name is Trayvon Smith once again, and if there are any questions, you can see me in the foyer after, or just ask me. Thank you.
Okay, well, for the presentation that Trayvon had, 2 positives was he was very knowledgeable in the information he gave. So it was like everything he said I believed and I trusted, and also it was very good information that can help me out in the future. But the only negative thing I have to say is there were some technical difficulties when he showed the video, but other than that, it was a great presentation.
Okay, I thought the presentation was really good. It was really informative and very useful. Another positive was that it helped to remind me of small things like turning off my cell phone or silencing it and how long I have to react. And the only negative part was that there were some technical difficulties, but the presentation was still good.
Hi, in regards to Trayvon's presentation, I really like the fact that, 1, he came in and he made us feel welcome, and 2, he stated why he was credible to give the presentation. One of the things that I think that he needed to improve on was going through the presentation to make sure the slide and the video worked, because there were technical difficulties.